Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. This one will be for complete beginners to WordPress. We'll be creating a website from scratch, and we will be creating this website with the Cadence theme, the free version, and also with Cadence blocks, also the free version. So you can create this with completely 100% free software. And there are also, of course, you have the Cadence Pro team and Cadence Blocks Pro as well, where you have to have a subscription, which I also have some videos about. But for this website, you will have sufficient with the free theme and also with the free blocks. Okay. We will be going over the basics, so going from installing how to install the Cadence theme, how to install the Cadence blocks, and then from the customizer, we'll be setting up our fonts, our colors. And then afterwards we'll be diving into the pages and creating them from scratch. And in this video we'll be doing the customizer stuff. And then afterwards we will create this kind of a home page. The header will be changed maybe later on, but now it's just to have some content to show how it will be, that it's already, that there is some text over here, okay? So you see this is the hero section, which we will be creating. Then we have here with the new thing, so you have like the dynamic text that comes in. We might have to, if we wanted to trip out, so you see it goes one level below. Now we can set some spacing here maybe that we will have to fix. Then here we have a dynamic slider that I've created. For this I have used a little bit of a custom code option just to be able to set this the outline or the bullet points, let's say, they are displayed on the left side. Standard they will be in the middle, but I liked it more on the left. So this is just one line of code or two lines of code is sufficient to create the outline here. Now we have a section with a little bit of content, number 1, number 2, and then at the end we have some sort of a subscription or newsletter where they can fill in the newsletter and then click on subscribe. So this is the page we will be creating today. In the next video we will then create the about us page, and then the video after we'll probably do the contact page, but for now we will be setting up this. Okay, welcome, let's dive right into it. I have a fresh WordPress site installed. If you don't know how to install WordPress, then of course you can let me know, then I'll provide you with another video, but I'm starting now from a fresh install, so you should at least be able to install your WordPress on a hosting or on a local server. I've already made a video about how you can create a local server on your own computer, so you don't have to pay for hosting, and then you can play around as much as you want with creating websites. Everything will work, but it's hosted locally on your computer, so it's not accessible by anybody else. It's only accessible on your own computer. Okay, even this one that you see right now is completely functional, but it's hosted on a local server and it won't be accessible for anybody else except for me. Okay, so if you have installed WordPress, you see I'm working with 6.2.2. This might be a bit different if you're watching this more in the future. This normally wouldn't be a problem. The first thing we're going to do is go to Appearance, Themes, and you will see there are 3. By now there are 3. Maybe if you watch in a couple of years there might be different ones. We're going to add a new one. We're going to search for the Cadence theme. Here on top, if I can type it right, Cadence, like this. And then on the left side here you see Cadence. We're just going to click on Install. And afterwards you will see an option to click on Activate, like this. Let's click on it. Now we have the Cadence theme installed. You see you can use starter templates. This is something, it's a really awesome feature. It helps you to import the website that's already made by the team of Cadence. So if you want to, then you can of course do that. But for this video we'll be learning how to do it ourselves, so we're going to remove it. The other 3 themes I'm going to remove. So by clicking just on the theme, then you have the option on the right hand corner here to click on delete. Why do I do this? Because we won't be using these themes, and they only take up a little bit of our hosting disk space, so we don't need extra stuff if we're not going to use it. So now you see the only thing that's still available now is the Cadence theme. If you want it to auto update, you can click on this, and now it's going to, whenever they push a new version, this is 1.1.40. So again, it can be different if you're watching in another if you're watching in the future, but still, if you want to have auto updates, you can enable it, but you can also disable, and then you have to do it manually if you want to have more control. Next thing we need to do is install a plugin. So we go to plugins, we're gonna add new. There might be plugins here if you have a hosting package. For example, if you host with SiteGround, they install by default their SiteGround optimizer and SiteGround security plugins. Don't worry about it. If you have those there, they won't harm the following along of this video. But I don't have any plugins at the moment, so we're going to add new one. We're going to search again for Cadence. You will see there are different ones that will pop up. So you have this is the one we need, the Gutenberg blocks by Cadence blocks. Install now. And I click on activate. And basically that's all we need for this video. One plugin, and with appearance, themes, this theme. This is actually everything we need, okay? Now we're going to click on this home icon. You see this is called testing 2. You can set this up by going, this will probably be something else here. If you go the page, this should be the same. So this is a default blog post page of Cadence. If you have installed the theme with the sample page, that's also installed by default by WordPress. The sample page is you can find here under pages, and we're going to just click on trash because we're not going to use the sample page. Okay, we're going to add a new page to start with just by clicking on this button. We're going to call this page home. This is the page we will be creating today. Click on publish, and then go back out by clicking on the icon on the left hand corner. And now we're going to go inside of the customizer. First thing we have to do is set our home page to be our home page, but you see now by default it opens up this kind of blog post page, and we want to change this. You can do this in this home page settings here, the second to last. Then you go, instead of your latest post, you select a static page, and we're going to select home for home page. Okay, now you see it looks a bit weird. That's because we have to adjust some settings to make it look better. Click on publish, so our home page is set up. If you want to remove or change the name that's up here, minus testing 2, then you can go to the site identity, and then you can go to the site title, and then you can set up here what you want. So in my demo it was called demo as well, so I'm gonna use demo, but you can choose whatever you want. If you want to use a logo, you can of course upload one. I'm just using the text inside in this video, but you will often see instead of the text that there will be a logo as well, so you can select the logo here and then upload it. The other thing we want to do now is go to colors and fonts. We go to colors, you see the palettes. We're going to change palette 1 by clicking on this little icon here, and this will open up some palettes that are already pre-installed by the Cadence team, and I'm going to go with the greenish one over here. I'm going to click on it, so now this one is selected by default. Going to go back one level. We're going to go to typography, and we'll set our base font. You can choose whatever font you want, of course, choose whatever you like. I'm going to go with Lato. And you see immediately this text is changing, and I'm going to use 16 pixels as the base font size. Okay. The color is going to be this, or you can set it a little bit more darkish, so it's more a little bit more to black than this one. You see the only thing, it's going a little bit lower on the spectrum here. You can change this to whatever color you want again, but make sure it's still readable for your audience. Then the heading font family, this is going to be a different one than the base font, but this is not necessary. This is all due to preference. So this one is a heading, and you see now it's the same as the normal font, and I'm going to change this to another one. It's called Oswald. Gonna click on it, and now you will see this immediately changes the layout of my heading. This I'm going to leave as it is, but you can set this up individually here if you want to. Click on publish and go back 2 levels now. We're gonna go to general. We're gonna set layout, and we're gonna say content max width. I'm gonna set this to 1100 pixels. This is again you see if I set it to 110 pixels that everything is squished together in a box of 110 pixels. 1100 pixels, you see this gives us a nice reading left to right. It's not too broad. If I remove this, it will be the width of this white box here. This is a nice width, I think, for a site, or around this. 1200 pixels is also fine, but you can choose whatever you want if you want to change it. Okay. Left right edge spacing, we can set this up maybe at the end. These are more details, and then now at the moment they are not so important. Then here we can go to performance. We're gonna say load Google Fonts locally. We're gonna click on publish again and go back 2 levels, and now we're gonna go to the posts pages layout, and then we're going to change the page layout. By default, I don't want the page title to be shown. This is the home you see here. So I'm going to disable this by clicking here, and you will immediately see that it will be removed. Now we only have the white box remaining. Again, the white box itself is also going to disappear in a moment, because this is not how it's supposed to look by default. Normal is fine, we leave it as it is, and here we go to unboxed. This means the white box is gone and we don't have a difference between the site background and the content background. Content vertical padding, we're going to enable this, but I'm going to select bottom only. This means that there is a space between the bottom, you see the blue line here, and the end of my content. There will be space in between. If I disable it, it will squish together also on the top. But on the top I want it to be disabled, because I only want, I will show you in a minute why I do this, because I want the background of my content to go underneath my header, and this requires to only have the bottom one applied. Publish. Scroll back up if you don't see the arrow, and then you see here it pops up, so we can go back. I think we have the most important things done now and set up. We might come back later to change some stuff for the header exam, for example, but for now we're going to start with what we have now. I'm going to click on this close button, and now we see our homepage completely blank and empty, of course, because we haven't created anything yet. So what we are going to do is go click on this edit page thing, and it opens up the page. Oh, before we begin, let me go back for a second. Maybe add one more plugin to your library, add new, and we click on instant, and we search for instant images. This is a really awesome plugin. Unless you have images you want to upload, high quality images that look good, then you use your images, of course. If you don't have any images and you're just following along, you can install this plugin. You will see in a minute. It's really awesome, and allows you to import thousands of images with a single click. It's helping you a lot if you don't have any images at the moment. Okay, we're going to do slash, and we're going to start with a row layout. This is going to be our main header section. We're going to click on this one. This means we start with one column, but we can always, you have two with a division that's not equal anymore. But if you start with one, you can always just click here on 2, 3. So you can always change whenever you want to. So it's not a problem if you select the wrong one in the beginning. First things first, we're going to go to the align button here on top, click on it and go to full width. But then the button next to it, we're also going to click on it, and we're going to use the theme content inner width, enable it. Okay. If you click this open, you will see which blocks we have already put in. So we have a row layout, and you see inside of it there is automatically a section created. So this is something that goes automatically with the row layout. You don't have to worry about this, but we're going to start setting some things up with the row layout. Okay, we're going to select align middle, so the text later on is going to be in the middle, and then we go to the right hand side, and we're going to go to the advanced tab, go to structure, and we're going to set a minimum height on this block. I'm going to select view H, and we're going to select maybe 75 view H. At the moment we won't be seeing too much because there is nothing in it yet. Yeah. We're going to set the background, go to style, we're going to click on select image, and you see my media library is empty. But if I go to instant images, you see immediately some images pop up. You can just have a scroll around if you want to, but we can also look or search for example, dark background. And then you have thousands of pictures that are popping up, and they are all going to be super nice, high quality, and you can pick whatever you want. To be a good quality picture and to be able to work well, it's better to choose one that's in this orientation and not in this orientation for this particular hero section. So I'm going to go with this image, click on it, and it imports it immediately inside of my media library. Click on select, and we have this as our background selected. Okay, so once we have the overlay, you see here the black color 30, this is the opacity. So if I put this on 100, this means it will completely go over the image. So you always want to leave this open a little bit. So 30 is I think the standard value that's always enabled. You can also go, instead of this, the classic overlay, you can go with the gradient one. And this means that you can go from one color more to the other color. So we can say, I want this one to be the black one. You will see it will get darker. And I want it to go to white. And then you can choose which angle it should go. For example, I want it to go from top to bottom, or I want the white color to be on top. So in this case, we might want to say 180 degrees. Let me just type it, it will be easier. This means it will go from darker to lighter, and then you can drag this and you will see that the dark color will come until here, and then the white color starts. So you can make the amount of dark go further down, and this way you have the nice dark color where the text should come, and this is going to make the readability better. And then it starts to become more whitish when we go over into the next section, where we will have indeed a more white background. So it's more like a smooth transition from the background starting to get into the next section already. So this is also something you might want to try. If you don't like it, just click on the classic one and you will revert back to the classic one. Let me stick with this one for now, and we'll see how it looks after we refresh the page. Then the next thing we want to do is put in our text. So I click on the add block, the plus in the middle, and then we're going to search for the advanced text block. This is also a cadence block. We're gonna set this to, you can align everything here to the center. You see this icon here, and then you can also set the color to white. But if you want to put multiple blocks inside and they all should have the same alignment and the same color, the better thing to do is go one level above to this section. And here you can also go with text alignment, middle, and you can't really see it, but now it's already aligned to the middle by default. And you can also say with style on the bottom, you can go to the text color settings and you can set this for the normal text, for the links and the link hover. If I say I want my text inside to be white, you see it changes to white now, and it will inherit everything by every time I add a new block inside, it will automatically be aligned to the middle, and it will also be white, and I don't have to set this up individually each time. So this makes it a little bit more smooth. Okay, this is my heading. You type in whatever you want, of course. I'm going to set it to XXL as value, and you see I don't need to set color to white, and I don't need to align it to the middle because I've already done this. Then I'm just going to click on enter, and then I can do / advanced text block again. We're going to go with the one level below, the H3 for example. We're going to say an extra, maybe just large. This is my subheading, and you see it's white by default, and it's also aligned to the middle without changing anything. So this is a smoother way of doing things, going to the parent block and trying to set up everything there already. Let me now open up my page and see what we got by now. We're gonna see here, and you see this looks pretty decent. You see the text is nicely aligned in the middle, and it's a nice contrast, it's super readable, and you see it goes from the darker to the more light version. The only thing that's not right now, you see this white bar where the header is. I want this image to go underneath here, and we can also do this. We just have to change something in the page settings. So I go back, click on the icon here on top, page settings, and we go to transparent header. We're going to enable this. Click on update, refresh, and now you see it's getting completely to the top. So this is what I want. We have to change the header now because you see it's almost unreadable because the color of the text is wrong. We should also get this to a whitish color, and also this demo or your logo should be in contrast, of course, so it's visible enough. So this is something we have to change later on as well. Why we did in the beginning of the video, if you remember, I set the content vertical padding. So this is the space between where the content begins and the page ends or begins. We have set this to bottom only. And if here is default is selected, this means it will inherit what we have set up. This means in this case it's bottom only. If I do enable, so you can override this by clicking on a other value than default, click on update, you will see now if I refresh, because it looks the same. We still have the transparent header, that's still enabled. I didn't change this, you see here. But because I have set content vertical padding, he's now pushing everything down again, because the vertical padding is about, I think, maybe 5 EMs or something. It's also something you set up in the customizer. So that's why by default it's going to work fine, because we have selected bottom only in the beginning of this video, and you see this works again. Okay. Next heading, next section. So we have our header here, and now we're going to go with another section. So you can do both two things. You can go underneath and just click somewhere in the white, and then you see type, choose a block, or you can click on this plus. And then we can insert a new row layout, maybe with 2 columns, and we're going to select a 2-column layout with one smaller and one bigger column. And if you go to the middle here, you will see the exact percentage division between the two, and you can drag this along to create a different. So we have dragged this along, so now we have a division by 40 by 60, and we're going to add some text here, and we are going to add a gallery over here. Let's maybe start with the gallery. Advanced gallery it's called, this is the Cadence one. And we have to select some images. If you suddenly have this page, so this is more easy to see what it will look like, and you want to go back to the settings, it's always possible to go here in the settings tab and you open up the column again. Yeah. Most of the time I leave this open, but if you really want to see your page, how it's going to look, then you can always click this away. Same for the overlay and everything that's already in the list view. You can also toggle this on and off if you want. So select images. I only have one image, so I'm going to go to instant images, and I'm going to say we already have some sort of a mountain image here. Let's click on this one. Then go back to instant images, also pick this one. Then maybe 2 more instant images. I'm looking for images that are horizontally, not vertically oriented now. Maybe this one looks nice as well. And then again, last one, maybe go with this one, it's also nice. Then we're going to select them all, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're gonna, or maybe this one, not this is the hero one. So we have 4 images inside of the gallery, create a new one, and then we're gonna insert the gallery. And you see the images get inserted. We have 3 columns, and we're gonna go with this carousel option here. Yeah, we're going to image ratio. Don't pick inherit. Why? Because you will see, because this image has a different ratio. It's bigger than the other ones, so it looks ugly if one image is like out of line with the other one. So you better set this to a fixed one, like landscape 3:2 or landscape 4:3. You can see which you prefer, or 16:9. I'm gonna go by 3:2 maybe. I have 3 columns. I'm gonna set the cutter to a bit more, maybe 20 pixels. And the thumbnail image sizes, you can, large is a super high quality, medium large is normally sufficient for just thumbnail like this, so you can choose this. Loads a little bit less than going to the large version, so you can, oh, I clicked wrong, go back to 20 pixels here. Then we're gonna go to the carousel settings. If you want it to autoplay, you can enable this here. This means it will go, if they don't click on this or they click on this, it will still slide through the images. I'm going to remove the arrows. you see they are gone, and the dot style I'm going to do outline dark, so we have like the dots like this. And now you see they are in the middle. This is what I said in the beginning of the video. I want them to be outlined to the left hand side, and we can do this with a little bit of a custom code, because they're dot style. This is the only thing we can do. If you go to style as well, you have image and image shadow and advanced, but we don't have any extra options to align this more. Yeah, if you align left, you see it pushes all the images to the left. If you align right, it pushes everything to the right, but it doesn't change this. So we're going to leave this to none. First, click on update. I'm going to refresh my page and see what we have here. So you see my 4 images, and you will see if I don't do anything, after a couple of seconds it will start to scroll automatically. Let's wait for a second. There it went. So you can set the speed to a faster ratio if you want to as well, because now it takes quite some time. What's nice about the cadence blocks now is that you can also align this to span across the whole width of the page, but still keep the other column. So now it will stick to the width of the theme width, let's say. So if I go back to my section and go back to my row layout, so the parent container, I can go here to full width. So I want this to be full width, but only the right hand side. Then we can go to inherent max width from theme here, but say break right section full width. So now you see, if I don't do this, click me on update, and let me just add a text here, advanced text, H3, and just type something about what was the, so we're gonna type something here just to show you now how it looks with the break section. So if I just do it like this, you see it sticks to the theme width. This will not go further than to the right, and this will not go further to the left. If I want this to be a little bit more looking nicely, then I can go to my, again, section row layout. I'm gonna go break right section full width, click on update, see how it looks now. If we refresh, you see this will align perfectly to the right side, but this will still not be pushed to the left. So you still have a nice container that's contained here on the left side, but you can break this section to the right. So the images are a bit bigger, and it will also, if the screen size increases, this will grow with it, and this will still be inside of the container. So this is a nice way of doing this. Okay. We're going to set some padding here because I don't like it's a little bit too close maybe. So we can go back. Again, the row layout is selected here. We're going to go to the advanced tab, and here you see the padding. There are 2 ways. You can use the cadence value. So this is small, medium, large, and you see it live how much it is. But you can also, if you prefer to put in a value, you can click on this icon here, set custom size, and then you can see how much. So small, you see, is 24 pixels. If we go to extra large, you see this is the amount is 80, so you can see how much it is just by clicking on it, just to see it. And if you then want it a little bit more custom, you can change this to whatever value you want. Okay, I'm going to stick with the values of cadence, of the cadence blocks. You can also go inside of here, where if you hover, it becomes green, and here on the bottom as well. And if you see my cursor is changing. If I click and keep holding down, and then I drag down, you see you can also change the amount of padding like this, and then you have just a live preview. Gonna go by XXL both sides, click on update and refresh again. So now you see we have a little bit more space, and we will also have a little bit more space on the bottom if we put in another row layout underneath. So next thing, we're going to change this to some text, actual text. So we're going to say here, check our latest adventures. And then we're going to change, you saw the effect in the beginning of the video where this text is getting replaced dynamically by other words. How can you do this? You select this last word, you click on this arrow down button, and you go to typed text. This is something that's not so obvious. It's not difficult to set up, but you have to know where it is. And then you can see the cursor, so you will see in a moment what this is. You can change it if you want to, but I'm going to leave this how as it is. And then additional strings, we can add strings. So check our latest adventures. We can say check our latest stories, for example. And we can say another one, for example, our latest trips, like this. You can adjust the speed, how long it should take, and so forth, but I'm not going to bother. But if you don't like it, you can change this if you want to. Click on update, refresh here, and see how it looks. And now you see this is the cursor one that we set up, and then the 3 words, and they will keep typing by default. So looks nice, right? So we're gonna keep this as it is. Then we're gonna go maybe set it a little bit bigger, like this. I think we'll still be fine. Yeah, it's not going. You saw in the beginning of the video that the adventures one was dropping to the bottom every time because there was not enough space, but you see now it works perfectly fine like this. And then we're gonna maybe add a button underneath. So I push enter. I'm gonna type / and then advanced for the advanced button. We're gonna first align the button to the left, so it's getting in the same, it's aligned the same as our text. So we click on this one. Justify items left, and you see it immediately attaches here. Now we can say something like see more, and then we can set up a icon by going to style, going to icon settings, and you can select one. I'm gonna select an arrow down like this. The link I'm gonna paste, I'm gonna use hashtag and then more, but this will not work at the moment because we have to set this up, and this will be the section underneath, so you will see in a minute. Click on update, and we're going to see how it looks now. Okay, it's looking pretty neat. If we click, you see it's not doing anything, but you see it applies it in the URL in the top. But this is going to work. If they click on it, it will scroll down, a smooth scroll to the next section that we'll gonna set up in a minute. Okay, perfect. This is already looking nice. Okay. If you don't like the button, how it looks, or it's too big, you can always go back to the button settings, and here select small, click on update, and then refresh, and then we have a little bit more, so this maybe looks a little bit nicer. You can choose whatever you like more. The styling of the button you can adjust individually by here going to style. You can set the color, you can set the background color, you can set the border radius, and so forth, but we can also do this in the customizer. And this is also, again, this is the better way to do it, because every button you apply, normally you want most of your buttons inside of your theme or inside of your website to be a bit uniform and have the same look. And if you do it in the customizer, they will always have the same look inherited from here. And if you want to have an individual one here and there, you can also always override your settings. But by default, let me open up customize. That was what we did in the beginning, but there were no buttons yet, so we couldn't see. If we go to colors and fonts again, like in the beginning, we have a tab here, buttons, and you will see this is filled in because of our color palette. It took those values here by default, but you can change this here. For example, if we want more border radius, if I change this to 10 or 20, it will change the amount of border that there is around. Let me go higher. It's not updating at the moment, but I'll put in 25, click on publish, and then open my website again in a new tab. See here. Button inherit styles. It's now fill, but we should select theme. If we select theme, it will inherit what we have set up in the customizer. So click on update, refresh, and you see the more round button now. This is because we just did this inside of the border radius of 25, but you have to make sure inside of the edit page that we selected the theme option. Then they will always have the same look that we have set up over here. But I don't like this 25 one. I'm gonna go with something like 7. And others, I'm not really going to change too much, I think. So let me refresh and see. Yeah, this is what 7, and you see like the hover effect, more like the shadowy effect, is also something that's now more obvious. Okay, let me keep it at that. Close the customizer down, close this page down, so we have again one preview and one edit page. And now we're going to add a new section. So we're going to go below again. We can add here a new row layout. Gonna click on a 1 column one, and we're going to set this to full width again, but we're going to select here use theme content inner width. like this. Inside of this, we're going to add another row layout, so you can nest layouts inside of layouts to make more dynamic things. I'm going to use a 2-column one now, and we're going to use one for an image and one for some text. But let me open up the list overview. So you see we have a row layout on the top container. There inside is a section, and inside of the section we have another row layout with 2 sections or 2 columns. The top one, we're going to set a background color. We're going to select the greenish color, but I'm going to drag this slider down to 0.4. This is making it more transparent, so the color is not as intrusive on the eyes. It's a little bit less, more subtle. Let's refresh. There is no content yet, so this is still, it's not showing too much, but this is just to see how the color is looking, and you see it's going across the whole page because we selected here the full width option. I'm going to close this down, but because you see now it's constantly pushing everything down, so this is going to be annoying. Now it's going to be working again. Yeah. So we're going to add here an advanced image. So we're just going to click on add block inside. Advanced image. So you can search for image. If it doesn't show up, then you have to type in the advanced extra. Then we have advanced image. Select an image, and now we're going to search for an image of a mountain. But it now should be horizontal oriented. So this vertical, I'm sorry, these are all, this is nice. Let's pick this one. And we're going to select it like this. What we're going to do here is max image width. We're going to decrease this a bit. Let me click on update because it's a high quality image. You will see this is a little bit too big for the thing that I want to create. So I'm going to set this a max image, a max width of 350 pixels. This is going to be a little bit nicer. Yeah, this is a better size. The other thing we want to do is go to the alignment. We can say align to the center, for example. See how this looks. The only thing you will have if you align to the center, it's not going to align with this text, so maybe we'll stick with the align left. You'll see in a minute if I refresh. Now you see the image will go just as far as the text, so this is a bit more uniform. Yeah. What I want to do now is go one level above, so we can click on this select section. So it's always going to be, if I click always on this is the thing that's currently selected, the section, and then we can always see on the left side if there is a parent, you can click on it and it selects the parent. You can also always go to the list view and here open everything up and see what you just built. So we have the advanced image, and I'm going to select the section above it, and we're going to say advanced margin. We're going to click on custom size -70, and it's here in pixels, so I didn't change anything. Click on update, refresh, and now you see it's getting across a little bit, so it's just overlapping a little. We can increase this effect a little bit more by changing some padding settings. So let me open up, so it's obvious. We're going to go not to this row layout, but all the way to the top. And we're going to go to the advanced tab, and we're going to remove the padding. Go back, refresh. And now you see it's getting a little bit higher. Then here we're going to add an advanced text block. Let me first close this so it's not jumping around. We're gonna, again, we can say something like heading number 1. Maybe change this to H3 again and make this large. And then we're gonna add some, again, an advanced text block. We're gonna we change this to a paragraph, and we're gonna add some lorem ipsum text. You can go inside of Google and search for lorem ipsum. You have the first one here, ipsum generator, scroll down, you can say 5 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, choose whatever you want, doesn't really matter. And then you can just select a little bit of text here. Let's take these couple of sentences, copy, and then paste this in over here, like this. So we have some filler text to view how it looks. Okay, look at that. And then we're gonna add maybe another button below. Advanced button. We're gonna again justify this to the left. Gonna change this maybe again to the small one, and then say learn more, like this. Click on update and refresh again. like this. Now I want this to be aligned more in the middle, so that we have just as much space on top as we have on bottom. So what we can do then is go to the settings. We can go to the settings on top again. So we go to the section. The section, you see, if I close this down again, you see here the option to align to the middle, and now it will be aligned perfectly inside this section. Refresh, and you see space here and space here, looking perfect. Okay, next thing we'll do is add another row layout underneath, where the text will be on the left side and the image will be on the right side with the same overlapping, so the image comes a little bit above the background color of the row layout, just as we had over here. So how do we do this? We can do two things. We can just, to make our life easier, we select the whole row layout we just made, and we're going to click on duplicate. This is just going to duplicate another one exactly the same underneath. And then you can easily switch these two columns with each other if you select a section. So you see here I have the section selected. If you're not sure, you can open up again here and you see I have my section selected, or I have my row layout selected. So I select the section and I'm gonna go with the arrow over here, and you see in one go it just switches them. So this is already without any work changes to the right column. And then I'm going to just change this to 2, so we know this is the second column. The other thing we need to do is select the background, and we're going to remove the color, so it's white again. Click on update. And the advantage is that this image, the -70 we have set up, if you refresh, you will see it automatically has the same amount of spacing, so everything is exactly the same. The only thing that's not the same, you see here, is way less space than here. That's because this is aligned to the left here, and we'll see we might as well align this to the right. I mean this one is to the left, yeah, and this one to the right. Then you will see now it comes to the edge of the text, and there is the even amount of space in between. So we have both sections set up like I want them to. The other thing that I told in the intro is when we look at this, the dots over here, I want them to be aligned to the left side, and we need some custom code for this. I'll select it, and I'll show you. If you don't really are interested in the code, then you can just see what code I have, just copy paste the code, and then you're good to go. So you see if I hover over that, this selects the pagination here, and these are the individual dots. So we need this part. So I'm gonna copy this class. So it has two classes, split pagination and then split pagination left to right. So we're gonna use that. I'm gonna go inside of the customizer. I'm going to go to the bottom, additional CSS. We're going to paste the classes, Command V. We're going to have to add a dot before the first one, split pagination. I'm going to have to add a dot before the second one. And then we're going to attach them together so there is no space in between like this. Then we're going to use curly brackets, open them up, and then now we have this selected in our custom CSS. The thing we now have to do is set some properties. It's with a position absolute property, so that means you can control it with a position left 0, right 0, or a percentage, and left 0 is already set up. Maybe I show you so you see what I mean. Let me open again the website and check this. Inspect. So we have this one. If we go down, you see here bottom -25, left 0, right 0, and position is absolute. So if I remove the right 0, you see immediately it is in the right position, but we still have a little bit of spacing here, and that is the padding you see here. So there is a padding of 1 EM, so most of the time it will be about 16 pixels, pushes it to the right. So we're going to unset the padding on the left side, and we're going to unset to the right, and then it should work. So the first thing I type in is right double point and then unset, and you see live it's already adjusting, and then we're gonna go with padding left. I'm gonna set this to 0, and now you see it aligns perfectly to the left. Click on publish, remove the customizer, And you see this is exactly how I want it to. So if you want it to be aligned like this, just copy that same bit of code inside of the customizer, otherwise you can just leave it as it is. And then the last thing we will do here is add another section underneath where they can subscribe. So if I open this up again, I click on the plus, I do another row layout, I'm going to select one column, and I'm going to say full width for the background, and the inner content uses the theme width. And then here we're going to set a background image again, select an image. You might check for another mountain like background, maybe something horizontal like this is fine. Click on select. So this is the background. Now we have to put in maybe an overlay again, so the text is readable enough, so a little bit darker, and maybe about 45 this time, like this. And then we can add something, a form, something to let them subscribe to our website. We're going to start with an advanced text block. And before we start, maybe we selected a section, and we're going to set the text alignment to the middle, and we're going to set the text coloring to white. So again, every text we put in will automatically inherit, so we don't have to set up it individually. My heading here, and then maybe we're going to use a divider or a spacer, and we're gonna, so it's in the middle, that's good. We're gonna set it to the same white color. We're gonna set a height of maybe 3 pixels, and we're gonna set the width to 8%, something like that, and the height to the minimum 6 pixels. Click on update. And then underneath we're going to add another advanced text block. This is going to be in, this was in H2, I'm going to set it to an H3, and we're going to add this as an H5, or maybe just a paragraph. This is some more text, like this, and then we're going to click enter again, and then we're going to do a form. So search for form. This is the cadence one, the bluish. So by default it will put in too much columns. I don't need them. You can put a full form if you want to. You can also add new fields, but I'm going to remove the name. I'm going to remove the message. So if you click on the field itself, you see on here on the top you can remove the field. And then we have left the email. So we're gonna just say this is to subscribe. Maybe we'll put this here, subscribe for the latest updates. And then we might want to set this to one row, so the email input and the button are next to each other. So how can we do this? We go to style. We're going to go to the submit styles. We'll set the column width to maybe 33% to start with. So it's in the general tab, and per field you can set this up. So we go to the email settings. For the button you go to style. For the form you go to the general tab. You can set it's required or not. I would leave this on because it's the only thing they have to fill in. So it's probably going to be required. You can set a placeholder. This means example at example.com, so they have something to guide them what they put in with the ad, so they know it's an email address. It's optional, of course. And here we set the column width to let's try 66%. So you see, by setting one together they are 99%, so they fit next to each other, but we have to check now how it looks. So you see it's already fine, but this is not aligned right. So the other thing we can do is maybe change the text here to subscribe. To make this now aligned more, so you also see it's aligned to the left, so it's not inheriting our text align to the middle like these are doing well. So we have to set this up over here. So I have my form selected and I do align text center, and you see something changing here. And if we do the live preview, you see now this only creates more space in between, so we have to adjust a little bit more. So the other thing we'll do, we'll set it a little bit less, 60 pixels for 60% for this one, and we go to 25% maybe for the button. Here on the bottom, 25%, yeah. And then we go back up and we set the field styles, we go a bit lower and we're going to set a border radius of 12 pixels and we're going to say a row gap of 15 pixels. Click on update, column gutter 15 pixels, 15 here. It's going by 2, okay, 16 pixels then. We refresh the page and now you see it's aligned more to the middle and we have a more uniform look. Yeah? We might add a little bit of padding to the top and to the bottom as well to have a bit more, so we can do this over here if you want to. Let's do triple large, both sides. And click on update, refresh, and then we have a bit more space. Yeah? Maybe this is not super readable, and maybe we make this a bit bigger. We go to large over here, and we do it to medium over there, and click on update and see how this looks. Okay, this is maybe a little bit more viewable, and here they can put in and it will automatically select their email if they have something set up that's like Google autofill will select their email. Basic spam check is enabled. Email settings, here you have to set email to. So if you have an email address and people have to subscribe and you want to be notified, you have to put this in over here, of course. And then this is the action after submit. It's an email, send an email to me, but you can also add them to different content systems that manage your people, your subscribers. Some things are, the bottom ones are, you have to have the Cadence Pro version, and the top ones, they are available for free. So now we have our homepage is ready. The only thing, of course, here is not working, so this is something we have to set up. We can do this now. And then this learn more, these should be then individual pages that, for example, heading number 1, this can be going a full trip, and this can be a day trip or whatever the website is about, and then you click on learn more and then they get a new page with more info about something that's over here. Yeah, let's now first set up this. So see more button, we already put something in, if I remember correctly. You see hashtag more. So now we have to set up this overlapping row layout, the top one. So you see this one. We're going to go to advanced. We're going to go to the advanced tab again here, and then we're going to say HTML anchor. We're going to put in the same but without the hashtag. So the more, click on update. And now if we refresh this page, you see it's already scrolling because it's inside of the URL. Let me open this again. Go down, click on the button, and then we have a smooth scroll down. So you can do this, of course, to whatever section. You can also say subscribe here, and then you change the more or subscribe to go to here, and that will also work. So you can choose whatever you want. Okay, before we wrap this one up, we might have to have a look at the responsiveness. So, because we know a lot of people, more and more, are watching websites on mobile. So it's important that it doesn't only look nice on a desktop, but of course, if they look on a mobile, it should also be looking nice. So how can we do this? We can go to the, let me close this up. If you have your site, you click on somewhere in the site, right mouse button, and then you do inspect. Then in Google Chrome, you have this icon over here. If you click on this, you see on top you can set tablet view, laptop view, and you always have the width of the screen size with it. So you can see on the way bigger screens as well if it still looks nice. So this is looking fine for me. We can go to a tablet view, and you will see in the tablet view this is also looking nice. The only thing we have is this one that's going from here to here. It's not a super big deal, I think, because it's not really clickable. Only this button might be a bit annoying to click on if it jumps around. So how can we fix this? We can move this column a bit to the right, or we can change the font size to a smaller font size starting from tablet. That's also a possibility. But if you look here, you see this effect is still working nice. This effect is still working nice, and then here the subscribe is also looking nice. So you see it's actually not too bad. Let me make this a bit smaller. Yeah, and that's also because we worked with the Cadence font sizes. So let me show you here. We set it to triple XL. Let me go to a small mobile phone, 320 pixels. You see it still looks pretty neat. And if we go to a bigger screen size, you will see the font size will automatically, you see it growing, and it gets smaller again. So that's just the advantage of working with the predefined font sizes here, that it automatically scales depending on the screen size, and it saves a lot of work, because you see actually we don't really need to do too much. If you think it's too big, you can of course individually make it a bit smaller, but actually it's not really necessary. Yeah? This is working fine as well. Same thing, so stories and trips fit on, but you see adventures will push it down one level. So we might as well make this a bit smaller again, so it fits on one line. And here you see the pictures, the slider works fine. This one works fine. And here you see this is not working fine, because the image should be coming first maybe, and then it will look okay. And then here, this might be now on 2 lines, because you see it's a little bit squished together. But all in all, not too bad, right? So how can you actually do this? You can, with every individual thing you want to change, for example, if I want to change this main heading, you see here the tablet view, it will scoot over to the tablet view, and the mobile view. If you don't fill in anything, it inherits the triple XL from what we've set up here. Also in mobile view, but you saw, because we used this, it automatically resizes it depending on the screen size. Okay, so for this one, the same thing. We have set here a large font size on desktop, so we might want to go to tablet. There it was also pushing it away, so we can go to the, let me open up the list view, the overlaying row layout. We can set the columns more even, like this, and now it's still not big enough, but it will help a bit. And then we can click on the heading itself. You see advanced text is selected, and we can go for tablet, and we can set it to medium, or maybe medium. And if this is too small, you can see which one it is, and you can say maybe make this 24, so you can make it a custom font size. And then for mobile, it will normally inherit the one you have set up in tablet, so the 24 pixels. So if this is not going well, it's also not spanning across, we might again want to set the font size to something like medium over here. Or again, if you think it's a bit too small, open this up. 24 is too big, 23, 22, you can set whatever you want. And then you have to click on update. But you have to make sure this is selected, because otherwise it will not work on mobile. So if you now refresh the page, we're still in the mobile view. It's refreshing, there it is. Now you see this is already fixed and it's working fine. The button is working fine as well. This one, you see it's aligned to the left, so the image here we might align a bit more to the center. So same thing, we go to the image, I have it selected over here. And then here on top you see the align left, we can go align center, so this will work fine. For this one, we have to select the row layout. So if I click inside, I go to the overlaying row layout. Here we can say collapse to rows, but we say the collapse order reverse. This means the image will go first. Then we click on the image and we also set it to center. And then we have to see, it's probably going to come a bit too high on mobile. Let me refresh, so there we go. So the header, then the latest story strips with the slider that works. Then this image is now centered perfectly with the text underneath, and then this image comes and then the text number 2. So this is looking fine, except for here we have not enough overlap between it. So we can do different things, or we go to the, we use this section, so we can go to the advanced tab, click on the margin top was the one we set up, and we can say minus 30 for example instead of minus 70, because that was the thing we set up here, minus 70. And if you don't change anything here or here, it will inherit the minus 70, but now we overwritten it for mobile. Click on refresh, and now you see it's getting a little bit less over it. The other thing we can do if you want to keep the effect is go to the top row layout, so the one on top. And we can add a little bit more padding over here. So if we go to advanced, padding on the bottom, we can say padding extra triple XL, and then we can again go to this section with our image and change this back to minus 70. You can choose whatever works best for you. You can also delete the margin top altogether, and then it will be just a normal layout. But now we have created a little bit, let me refresh. You see I have created a bit more space underneath the button, and we can still have the overlapping effect like this, and the image is centered as well. And then the last thing, we might want to change this last section here, where we see with the styling tab, we go to the submit styles. This is the button. We go to the, you see 25% on desktop, we click on mobile, we can say I want it to be 100% the column width, click on update. Let's refresh and see this if this works already. Yeah, you see it works already, but now this is still on 60%. You see it's quite small, so we might want to change the width of this as well. So that was in general, email settings, go a bit down, column width, we can also say here 100%. Click on update, refresh, and you see this is looking completely mobile responsive. So you see with Cadence, if you have a decent design from the beginning, you use their fonts, it's actually quite fast to make your website completely mobile, tablet responsive. So have a play around with it, and if you have any problems, then let me know. If I refresh, you will see it will go back to the normal thing here. Ah no, it didn't. I made a mistake. I probably didn't put, yeah. So this was 60% on desktop. I changed it on the wrong. So that's why I say you have to make sure that you have this enabled, because you saw that it broke a little bit my first layout. So if I now refresh, it should be, yeah. So this is working fine again. And if we go to smaller screen size, you will see now it's going across the 100%. So you can play around with it. You can use this slider to see different screen sizes. Most common screen sizes you will find up here. But if you want more specific screen sizes, you can still keep doing this. Okay? Alright, then I'll see you in the next video where we will be creating the last 2 pages of this site. Of course, if you think you can handle it now, just go around and play with it. And then maybe post a link with what you've created. Then I'll be happy to take a look at it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.